Hello, you lovely people. Today is a beautiful day, and let me tell you why. The sun is shining, for one, very important factor. We had some less than beautiful weather lately, but today's beautiful. Second thing, it's officially the 30th episode of the No Payne podcast. Yay! 30 episodes. Not too bad. It's been a rough go, I suppose, here and there, getting all the technical bugs worked out and, finding the right guests and everything. But I think we've worked out most of those kinks and smooth sailing for the 30th episode. So for our 30th episode, as you can see from the title, we have Ruth Alexander of Ruth Alexander Real Estate, or RARE for short. So we're very happy to have you. And how are you doing today, Ruth?
Thank you for having me.
Of course,
Brody. This place has a very Wayne's World vibe.
That's exactly what I was going for.
Was that what you were going for?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally love it. It's a flashback for me because that's more my generation, right? So I love it, and thanks for having me. I'm
you're very welcome.
Very pleased to be here and find out all about No Payne Roofing as well.
Indeed.
By the way. Mm-hmm.
As for the podcast, it's kind of like a rock and roll jungle down here. You could say that. All of our flashy lights and cameras and everything else.
I love it.
But yeah, I'm loving it too. I mean, we will be moving eventually.
What?
Why? Well, bigger, better things, bigger, better places, right? And
I don't know.
When we might have to change up the scenery if we move.
I think I know someone who can help you if you're thinking of moving.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Just might throw a name out.
Yeah. That point and hint taken. I will certainly be looking probably about a year from now. But
I am that person at every event. I'm shameless. I'm always saying, oh, really? Hi, I'm Ruth Alexander. I'm a realtor. So I am a little bit annoying.
That's
there.
Perfect. That's actually a pretty awesome position to be in for myself, becoming acquainted with real estate agents. I think we've had a couple before.
Yes, we have. I've called you a few times. I've seen you on LinkedIn.
Terrific.
And through Renovation Find, I think I've found your name as well. I mean, we're always educating ourselves on how to be a better service to our clients, and to be a better service, you have to have the knowledge base and it.
Right.
Definitely an interest in all of those things that matter to buyers and sellers. And the roof is always number one. So.
Yeah, that's where No Payne Roofing comes in, right? Because without a solid roof, you've got attic issues, you could have electrical issues, you could have, without a solid roof, nothing but problems.
Definitely, and it's the number one thing we get asked as realtors all the time. How old is the roof? When was the roof last replaced? Before we even arrive to the property. So it's definitely, number one on the curb appeal. Sometimes you can't really see the roof. It's winter.
Right.
So it becomes less of a topic that we talk about, and it's harder for inspectors to actually give us, any information until they go into the attic, of course.
Right, of course.
Which is the telltale sign.
I mean, we do get a lot of snow in Calgary, no doubt about it. Doesn't really help realtors throughout the winter months, but it is cozy, and it's. I mean, I get the little, how do I put it? I don't know. I get very cheerful throughout the winter months, throughout Christmas time and all the snow and everything. Despite being a roofer, I still don't mind all the snow.
I would think that it would be the bane of your existence being a roofer, because it's slippery, it's dangerous. But are you kind of on holidays over the winter then? Because are you even really replacing roofs during snowy weather?
Well, not every roofing company is interested. We tend to do re-roofs straight through the winter months.
No way.
So long as temperatures are above, I think, negative 15 degrees Celsius or so.
Is that right?
I mean, around negative 15 degrees is when the materials themselves start to become brittle. I mean, actually, installing the material can be difficult at those temperatures. The nails that we would use can blow straight through the shingles rather than sink flat into the materials as they should. The compressor itself will not operate properly at extreme sub-zero temperatures, but
and also more an element of danger, right?
Of course, yeah.
So slippery and unpredictable.
I know a lot about that. If you had seen any of the early episodes of the podcast, I fell off the roof a couple years ago,
No way.
going on 3 years ago. Yeah, it was an early December morning, too much frost, and a little too much confidence on my part.
Yeah. As long as
But
confidence and not whiskey or anything like that.
Certainly not. No,
No, that's
alcohol
good.
and roofing do not mix.
That doesn't mix very well.
And
no.
I am honest enough to say that, we'd sometimes go to the pub for lunch, right? And
Oh, yeah. you have to be
sometimes,
careful with
you'll have
that.
like a $2 beer, a special or whatever that lunchtime. And sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm going to be responsible and I'm going to call it a little early today because I had maybe one too many during lunch. And I mean, that's not the greatest thing to, I guess, reveal,
Admit to
but
everybody.
it's,
Oh,
I mean,
yes,
everybody can
here we
admit it.
are.
Maybe you've had one or
do
two
that anymore.
too many. No, of course, but that was lunchtime, and
a long time
I
ago.
wasn't dumb enough to get up there when
Yeah.
I was a little less, less than.
That was
10%,
like closer
we'll
to
say.
episode like 1 through 5. You might have been doing that, but not now. After episode 30, there's
That was a while ago
Yeah,
when we were
for sure.
interviewing. Well, we had interviewed some of the other crew members when we started up in this location. But as for the podcast episodes that kind of showcased, I guess, my story, that was
it's totally
a long
okay.
time
It's
ago.
fine. Yeah.
And I'm doing fine now, and I'm still
good, I'm
roofing, and
glad.
that's that. So, enough about me. More about Ruth.
Oh, I was really enjoying.
Right.
learning
Well,
more about
I'm.
that, but
It's
we'll go
it's a
back.
bit of a sob story, but as I said,
You
long
have
story
a sob
short.
story?
Well, maybe not.
A
I
little
mean,
bit of one. I
kind of.
love
It's
to
kind of
love
romantic.
story.
It's kind of romantic.
Romantic.
That's how we ended up together, kind of.
Roofing and romance. I like Ruth, roofing, romance.
There you
lots
go.
of R's.
That
in
could
this.
be a side gig for you, right? You could start up a dating site or something like that.
Oh, I used to be a matchmaker. That was
Hey,
a
hey,
long
hey.
time ago, so I don't really,
Joseph Working
that was
Match.
a whole other world ago.
I see.
Yeah, we won't talk about that today, but actually I'm kind of a matchmaker still, aren't I? Because I'm matching homes and people and people's
Precisely,
homes, buying
yeah.
and selling. It really is like matchmaking, actually. It's just a little bit more, I don't know, a sustainable career.
Of course.
A little less emotional.
Yeah.
Why don't
oh, no,
we?
a lot more emotional.
Really?
But
Oh, it can be. I mean,
yeah, that's
matching.
a whole other.
Yeah, matching somebody with their forever home, or I mean, hopefully their forever home. That
You'd be
could certainly
surprised. A lot of emotion. A lot of emotion because money is tied to emotion. And
Yeah,
so when
of
people are
course.
spending a lot of their hard-earned dollars, it brings out a lot of emotion. So
Yeah, I mean,
mm-hmm.
closest I came maybe is when I went to go finance my first vehicle. I wasn't paying for it in full out front. That would be a big purchase, but I could anticipate the emotional aspect going into finding my forever home or a first home for that matter. So, yeah, it totally makes sense.
And it's interesting because you would think people buying their first home would be more emotional, but I've come to learn that every single transaction is quite emotional. It's very rare that it's totally smooth sailing and everyone is, hunky-dory about
Right.
everything. It's,
Yeah.
it's huge. People save, they work hard. It doesn't matter whether it's a $200,000 home or a $2 million home. It's a big step for everyone.
It's full of memories, right? Memories, major events, things like
major
that.
events, everything they've earned and worked for, their
Yeah.
deposit they've saved. It means a lot. It's not just a flippant transaction. So
Right.
I'm surprised that realtors don't have to. I got my license, but now that I've been in the business, I'm starting my 4th year. I'm surprised realtors don't have to have an MBA, a degree in psychology, maybe even a degree in theology, know how to pray hard, and philosophy. It's a very intricate business with you have to understand economics, you have to understand emotional IQ, you have to be able to have the maturity and to handle how people are behaving, because it is a stressful situation and you can't take it personally. You have to be pretty calm and cool under fire. And even just growing a business, as you all know, it takes a certain amount of not just business knowledge, but emotional IQ, empathy. But you have to also be, not a pushover, not too much of a bully. You have to deal with people who are that way in this business because, everybody's in a negotiations 24/7. Everything is a negotiation in real estate, as is with you. Same for any business owner that's out there, and you only get paid when you have a result. So you have to, you're basically on the fly, always working in order to succeed in the end. And there's no regular paycheck when you own your own business or
Right.
when you're a realtor. So you have to definitely have a different mindset than someone working 9 to 5, with, and believe me, I'm sure you think that might be, that is, maybe the best alternative if you don't have the stomach for having your own business or being a realtor. It's very much running your own business.
Of course, it's no small task. And I can say that you certainly explained that very, very well. That was a very great, description of what it would mean to own a business or to become involved in real estate for that matter. And it being a continuous negotiation is, as you put it, I think is a great way to put it on either side of, or whichever type of business you're involved in. Certainly is a negotiation. Rendering, services for said product. It's never as easy as people make it out to be.
Well, a great example is if you watch, watching Sunset or, or Selling Sunset or any of those reality shows. I don't know, maybe it is different in California, but, the day-to-day work of a realtor, you see bus benches and you see us on social media and, it's so glamorous. I've had a lot of clients say to me, when they first met me, they thought, maybe I'd really look at Ruth's job. She drives a nice car and we look at all these nice homes and, it looks so fun. What a great job. Maybe I'll be a realtor, and by the end of the process, they literally just say, I would never in my life do what you do. It is just, I can't even believe you enjoy what you're doing. It's just a complete nightmare.
Not for the faint of heart, in other words. Right.
Because you are in a constant state of timelines, paperwork, details. And like I said, I do think like realtors, getting your license, it's a great option for natural born entrepreneurs because it doesn't take too long and it's not a huge investment, not like a 4-year degree would be at university. So I think people think, how hard could it be? And, it's, I think you should have an MBA. You should have all kinds of university degrees to do it well. And at the very least, take a lot of training if you don't. And that's sort of the route that I've taken. I've just happened to really, love the challenge every day. It's like a total head beep. We're not going to swear on the podcast.
Right? I understand what you're
We're
trying to say.
We're not going to drop the F-bombs.
Yeah, no, let's, we'll keep it professional.
Absolutely.
We'll put it that way.
Absolutely. Yes.
The late and great Mike Payne himself has dropped a couple bombs on the podcast,
Shameful.
but that was in the early phase of the podcast series and a little less viewers back then. So based on everything that you've explained to me, as you said, it's a very daunting task getting involved in this industry. The kind of challenges that you are up against on a day-to-day basis makes me curious as to how and why you decided to get involved in the real estate industry in the first place. I feel like that would be a very exciting answer to get from you.
I don't know if it's so exciting.
Well, hey, everyone's got their story. You never know.
Right.
Maybe who knows?
You know what? It's funny. I was watching an episode of Friends years and years and years ago before I even thought of becoming a realtor. And there's a specific episode where Phoebe says, I'm good looking enough. If everything else fails, I'll become a realtor. It got a really big laugh. And I remember saying that at one point, off the cuff, kind of a jerk thing to say, right? When you haven't walked in someone's shoes or don't really understand the industry. But again, the perception of, the Selling Sunset perception, and you get to really dress up and you get to have this persona. And it kind of like gagged me with a spoon to me, right? It was just sort of like a bit of a running joke. But, I fell into it quite, I guess, naturally, or maybe a natural disaster in my life, which was, really bad breakup and divorce, and left me with my children without, a home myself. And I don't really like to go back there that much anymore. It's sort of way in the past. But I remember looking at my kids, just thinking, well, here I am in my 40s. I have absolutely nothing to my name. But I have my health, and they're going to depend on me to get food on the table, and I just had to find a way to take responsibility in my life, and financial responsibility, parental, and I was their only hope, really. So so I decided first of all, I had to put some of our properties up for rent. So that, to me, was the first means of having a monthly income to survive. And in doing that, I had to put my properties on VRBO. Back in the day, it's like Airbnb, Verbo, I guess they rebranded themselves. But so I quickly got pictures taken, I put them up, and I suddenly became a property manager and a marketer of these properties, because damn it, if they didn't rent, we literally wouldn't have food. We wouldn't be able to put gas in the car. So it was really, really important that I learned quickly how to do social media. And, just kind of like that book Outliers, everything's timing, and social media back then was not, like it is now. So I don't think I'm a social media expert by any stretch of the imagination. I just happened to start it back then because I had to. I had to learn it quick. YouTube videos, self-taught. And so these properties, one was on an island, so to market it and get it sold or rented was kind of, no small feat. So I just really had to learn, how do I reach people and how do I get it out there? And I rented every single week. And in doing so, I learned Instagram and social and LinkedIn. LinkedIn sort of came a little bit later, and I figured out on LinkedIn it was the best way to promote these rental properties, because people on LinkedIn are executives and have jobs, versus all my Facebook friends maybe, or Instagram.
Right.
It's a different vibe. And I thought, well, that just makes perfect sense. So I learned all these social channels in order to have an income. So from there, I approached certain friends to see if they would like some help with their social media. And that was another way for me to pay the bills. And they happened to be realtors or home builders. And in doing so, I thought, while I'm doing all this social media and just getting a meager income, I'm going to slap the real estate course on my credit card and take that risk. So in learning all the lingo, doing social media, and learning a lot about, builders, I just basically thought it was a natural fit for me.
Right.
And so I did all these social media contracts while taking the course at night. And just slowly but surely, I got licensed, and a few bumps along the way. I had to restart the license, do it twice because of different circumstances. Again, lots of financial duress in those years. And now, I just went for it. I went for it because I had nothing to lose. I think what's good is when you have nothing to lose, you're really giver.
Yeah,
of course. That's how I became a realtor. I was driving, sort of an old vehicle. And, that first sale, it was amazing.
Right, that would have been
it was
triumph.
Amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. The confetti flew, and then, I got I had nothing to lose. So with a nothing to lose attitude,
right,
no fear attitude, because, when you have nothing, you can just go for it. And that's how I've built my business, one client at a time.
Of course.
And
sounds like a worthwhile investment in the beginning. I mean, putting that large amount on the credit card in order to get the education that was necessary, as
Definitely.
well as, taking the steps and understanding the platforms that you would be using in order to engage your audience or your customers, as you mentioned, all the social media platforms and things like that.
Yes.
Sounds like you'd taken the appropriate steps right from the get-go in order to establish yourself in the way that you needed to, but also become equipped fully with what it would take in order to excel within this.
Well, thanks. Yeah, and I didn't really know what I was doing. That's the beauty of it. I just, again, I think, I don't know if it's a mom vibe or a parent vibe too. When you're
Right.
responsible for other people, it's a little more important. So if I was younger and didn't have kids, and I don't think I would have had the same focus or maturity. to just sort of switch gears and refocus my life and just
Yeah.
take charge.
Yeah, it
Just
makes sense. I
makes a
mean,
big difference.
you mentioned yourself, it's not great to think back to those tough times, right, and to the tribulations that you'd faced, but they are indeed an integral part of your origin story when
Totally.
it comes to becoming a real estate agent. So, I mean, definitely worthwhile to acknowledge, that those tribulations helped to shape you in the way that you've...
Yeah, and again, I chose real estate because it doesn't take a long time if you really put a lot of effort into it. It doesn't take a long time to get your license. So I thought it was just like the quickest means to allow me to make money to rebuild my life. It was only about that. And it has just sort of developed to so much more. It's really, luckily, it just was a perfect fit for me, having done so many things, creative aspects in my past, raising funds, networking, the matchmaking thing years and years ago. It just, everything that I've done, and actually, probably like a colossal failure of almost all those trials, they actually fit beautifully in the time of life I was in and in real estate itself. I think it's just good timing.
Right.
And
so could I ask around what year you got involved? I'm
Yes.
assuming, I'm not sure how long. I don't want to get any of the dates involved because I've embarrassed myself with that kind of thing before, but
right.
I'll let you fill in those gaps. When did you first get involved in this, I guess?
So I've had my license. This is my 4th year in real estate. So I started in October of 2018. And basically, I haven't looked back since. And I started ReRoof, I think about maybe 8 months ago, just because, I was working day and night, nonstop. And how am I going to have and create more abundance and more sales so that I don't end up in the mental ward or sick or, having a heart attack? Because, those are real concerns when you're on the other side of 50.
Oh,
and,
you've described the business that you're involved in. I mean, that can be a difficult thing to juggle at times, right? So I understand the...
Yeah, I think if the kids were younger, little kids, I don't think it would have been the right fit for me, but they're pretty independent when I started. I have a 14-year-old and a 24-year-old. They're old enough and independent enough, and they knew that, we had the team meeting, that this had to be it for me, and this had to be the focus for us and our future. So, everyone's on board, but it's been great. But again, you can work as little or as much as you want in this business. A lot of people take it because it's maybe a nice part-time gig. If if you're in a position in life where you just want to, sail through a little bit, and you like homes, and, you have a nice network of people, and you just want to, and that's fine. I respect everyone's decision to work as hard or as little as they want. And again, for me, it wasn't a choice. I really had to work hard. I really had to hustle very hard to get where I am. And at that, after 36 months of, just putting everything else aside, for me, I just decided, the only way to keep doing this is to grow my company. When you have an entrepreneurial spirit like you guys do, you just want to keep growing, and that's why you do these types of things and podcasts. You want to expand and grow. But lately I've been learning that growing one small step at a time is more important than fast. So go slow.
Yeah, because expanding too quickly can nip you in the butt if you're not careful about it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've learned that lately because I grew very quickly to a team of 8 or 9 agents, and I think that's just it was too much all at once, I think, for me, because then you realize that you also, people count on you to mentor them, and a lot of new agents on my team. So the newer agents, they I handpicked them all the different agents on my team. If you go to raregroup.ca and you look at their bios, I just thought they were all incredible humans, and I dropped the You Should Be a Realtor in their ear about a year ago, and they were all striving to do that and join Rare Group, and they're with me now. And so, it's very rewarding, and I'm learning a lot. It's like, it's been a fast trajectory.
Right.
So I'm always trying to just catch up with my goals and where I want to go. And as you know, it's like I'm reading a book right now called The One Thing. And I really recommend it for everybody because it's by Gary Keller, and it's really about focusing every day and every move on one thing. Because I was definitely finding myself, oh my God, all this social media and then the website and
A little
clients,
scatterbrained a little bit.
and these new agents and everybody coming on board and business cards and marketing and sales. And I was finding it over like, wait a minute. But, short-term pain for long-term gain, that's sort of embedded in every entrepreneur.
Right, of course.
But I think to an extent, you just have to kind of sit back and go, whoa, like that's, slow down. Slow down, lassie, because haste makes waste. So hire, slow, fire, fast.
Right. Well, it seemed to have worked for you, and clearly it's worked for us as well. You need to have your eggs, I guess, grouped in a way that would create less confusion and help you to be less scatterbrained and more focused on a single goal,
Definitely.
a single outcome, as you said.
Definitely.
So, give us that title again of that book that you mentioned.
It's called The One Thing.
The One Thing.
Yeah,
Right.
I've been listening to it. I've been walking lately an hour a day.
Terrific.
For 3 years, I didn't get off my ass. I mean, I was in the car. I'd maybe walk around a house and back in the car, and then to my desk and on my laptop, and in my bed on my laptop, roll over on my laptop in the morning. Not literally. And then, back to work in the car, driving. I mean, the struggle is real, right? You don't just get to go from 0 to 1,000,000 miles an hour by just, I guess, I was sitting on my ass, but in a different way, just driving and talking on the phone. And, I tried to work out, but my brain would be like, oh, I've got to call this client back, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And lately I've just been shutting it all off and going for a walk, still on the phone, but I've also been listening to podcasts and audiobooks so that
Terrific. No, it's incredible just how far or just how impactful daily exercise can be on the mind, right?
Sure.
When specifically a goal-oriented mind, right? I mean, daily exercise can help to fast track that. It can boost confidence in what you're doing. It can boost, determination. I could go down through a list of things, but exercise is certainly very, very, very beneficial.
Yeah, and I think, again, that whole, you've got to work so hard till you, like really you're killing yourself, you just can't put it, every client, I know we say, put the client first, but I'm useless to everybody, especially my family. Like the whole point of this whole journey has been so my kids can feel provided for and safe.
Right.
But if I get sick, it's sort of counterproductive. So I'm trying to find that balance. It's really, it's really hard.
Of course, well, and exercise can obviously help safeguard against illness as well.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling it there, and I was like, enough is enough, no excuse, get your butt over to whatever, the swimming pool or the gym or whatever it is. But I had to pick something where I could still talk to my clients.
Right, of course.
Because my brain was not, so I took off that hurdle by actually finding a track, and I have my earbuds in, and if they're calling or I need to make a call, it's right there. So I feel like this sense of, okay, I'm not totally just doing something for me, God forbid.
Thank goodness for modern technology, right?
Right.
Because you can continue to exercise, yet pursue knowledge or listen to your favorite music or whatever else. And I mean, that was a big bonus. I guess I'd say, silver lining as a roofer, being up on the roof and having to focus on a single task.
Yes.
Very repetitive task all day.
Yes.
Being able to just listen to whatever I needed to, music, podcasts, documentaries, even things like that. It was definitely a blessing having the capability to do so. So for yourself as well, staying focused on work and
Yes.
and your business.
But moving.
Exactly. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And nowadays they have like desks, like standing desks that you can get that
Yep.
would just you can
I do
remotely
stand a
controlled
lot.
and things.
Well, actually, I go around my kitchen island, and that's how I came up with, wait a minute, I could put runners on, and there's a beautiful local track
Right.
near me. So instead of just going around my kitchen island, I could actually go on a walk.
Right.
Lo and behold.
Forget
so-
laps in the kitchen. Let's get out to a track. eh?
Exactly. Well,
That's not a bad
anyways,
idea.
enough about boring me. I wanted to know also about, I have some questions about roofing, and I'm sure you have some questions about the market.
The old switcheroo. It's very seldom that guests are interested in what we are doing, what we are providing. I mean,
Oh.
it's about showcasing local business, and I mean, everyone knows about No Payne, and now, luckily, our viewers know about Ruth Alexander Homes. So,
We're in a group.
what's that, Carly?
We do have some questions as well in the comments.
Oh,
Sure,
comments.
yeah.
All right.
Riddle them
We have
off, but bring
3
that mic a little
questions for
closer
ya.
to you, honey. I can't
Oh,
hear
I
you
love
too well.
it. Okay.
3. Can you hear me? I don't know how to move
really
it.
hear you.
Pull it towards your face.
Everyone watch me struggle.
Oh, there's a nice wide angle shot. Haven't seen that. Yeah.
Is this
Look at
good?
that pretty
Yes,
room.
that's good.
yes.
Great.
There you go.
Okay, so we have the first question is, Ruth, are there any communities that you can recommend to buy in, and do you discourage other communities?
Whoa, I am definitely not going to discourage any communities. I'm gonna get like hate mail or nasty
My
messages.
neighborhood's great.
Well, one thing with social media that I absolutely steer away from is ever anything negative or political or saying any neighborhood is not great. But it's not so much what communities I recommend. I mean, a really wonderful community is Royal Oak.
Yes, it is.
So
Second
I
that.
actually have a beautiful home coming up for sale, not far from you, just a few blocks.
buy
Yeah.
Put it on, put it on hold for a year. That'd be cool.
It's okay. Well, I think it's going to come to market in a little bit. So Royal Oak, I have the opportunity of working in so many communities because, again, I'm not one of those realtors who ever specialized in one particular neighborhood or area. There's some realtors who that's how they have formed their business, and I just decided early on because of my situation to be everywhere, and the kilometers on my car tell that tale. As well as why I have to walk a track because I drove hours and hours and hours if I added them up. But I would prefer being asked, or even in the comments, if someone wanted to ask me about their top 5 neighborhoods that they're interested in, I could give you the stats. But what I can say is no matter what neighborhood you pick, it's important to understand the market conditions in that particular neighborhood. So, there's lots of hype on the news about the market, the market, it's a seller's market, and it is still a seller's market. So we are I think we're at a 75% seller's market right now, whereas last month we were at about 104% seller's market and 112% before that. So it is, the market is softening a little bit, and that seems to, throw sellers into some type of chaos. But it shouldn't. It's still quite a strong seller's market. But I particularly love seller's markets because I'm a marketer.
Mm-hmm.
I love promoting homes. I love, investing in my properties. And that's how I've built my career is I've actually invested heavily, whether it's a $200,000 home or $2 million home. I just thought my job as a realtor, that's my job, is to really not just cell phone pictures and not just cutting corners and doing sort of the bare minimum, but my job is to be a supreme marketer of a property in every possible way and in the best possible way. As a buyer, though, I have slowly become a buyer's agent, of course, in this market, whereas I primarily focused on selling homes. With reduced inventory, I had to quickly adjust. And luckily at our brokerage, we learn a lot about negotiating skills. Chris Voss is, and our broker teaches a lot of Chris Voss training. So you definitely, no matter what neighborhood you want to buy in, you you need to be working with realtors who understand the market, understand negotiating skills, and understand, competing offers. And it's really tough out there. It doesn't even matter sometimes, especially in the last 3 months when it's a very, very, very hot market, like at 112%. It doesn't even matter what kind of negotiating skills you had in many instances, because just the highest price wins. And people were, just paying absurd amounts for homes. But whether it's absurd or not, it's the truth. And sometimes we have to go out with buyers 3 or 4 times and fail because they just don't quite understand the reality. And after they have failed 3 or 4 times, then they know to sort of heed our market advice. But definitely work with a realtor who understands the numbers, because every neighborhood is a little bit different. Like Royal Oak stats are going to be different than, Elbow Park or Auburn Bay. They all have different stats going on. So you need to definitely work with a realtor who, understands where you have to be, who understands how to do a competitive analysis. And, again, neighborhoods to steer away from, I'm not too sure. And neighborhoods that you would gravitate to, that answer is a huge, it depends. Like, it depends on what are you looking for.
Yeah, stay away from the neighborhoods that don't make your heart sing.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Do you have kids or no kids? Do you have fur babies? Do you need dog parks? Do you like ravines? Do you want a view? Do you want to save? And do you want an investment property? Do you want a condo? Do you want a detached 2-story, bi-level, 4-level split? Are you renovating? There's so many different aspects to buying. Being close to a dog park, is that important? Do you want a bungalow or 2-story? Are you having kids? What's your future looking like? Are you retiring, downsizing, upsizing?
That's a lot to consider. Goodness me.
It's
I never.
Huge. So you have to really focus.
I'm not ready to buy a house. That's what it sounds like.
I'll get you ready.
Can my band practice in the basement? That'd be one of my big questions. But that really, obviously I can if there's no attached neighbors. But
you don't want to be in an attached.
This attached neighbor is super, super cool.
Oh, so
yes, he's super cool. So we're all good. But
unfortunately, when you buy, you never really know if your neighbor's super cool. I have some stories about that too, right? The neighbor can, that's a crapshoot, isn't it? It's 50-50.
I fully intend on knocking on many, many doors when I move in.
And serving like shepherd's pie.
Yeah,
that. Like, hi.
Or say, hello, are you guys prepared for the pending apocalypse? Do you have food storages? And I'll be talking to them about that. And like, okay, either this guy's crazy or he's a step ahead. And he understands to be prepared.
Anything apocalypse, I love. So if you were into the apocalypse, I'd be like, I like neighbors who are prepared for the apocalypse.
Preparedness is important.
Yes.
That would be my go-to. Hi, I'm your new neighbor. So like, we should create a network here just in case. Hey, I've got a garden in my backyard. Do you guys have a well?
I have a sledgehammer in my trunk. So
hey, there you go.
I do.
Way to be.
That would be my favorite tool, I think.
I have
Does that scare anybody?
I have a baton. I have a baton in the truck.
Baton?
Yeah, it's a telescopic baton with a built-in flashlight. It's pretty cool.
Oh, is that a baton?
It is. It's really cool.
I was in the majorettes when I was a kid. So
I'm talking about like a
baton.
like self-defense baton.
If you gave it to me, I could show you. I can twirl it.
This one has like teeth on it, so you definitely wouldn't want it.
It's for skull cracking, but only if you have to. It was crazy because United Alarms, obviously a major company in town, I got an email from them. Hey, we've got flashlights, we've got all this cool stuff, and we've got this really cool flashlight, and it was like a 24-inch telescopic baton with a 300 lumen flashlight on the tip with like teeth all around. Like, that's gnarly. That. I'm gonna buy that right now.
What did you think when he came home with that?
I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, no. Preparedness, right?
Since we started dating.
You have a sledgehammer in case somebody tries to carjack you. And I have a flashlight baton. No. So a sledgehammer is also very, very intimidating.
I'm sorry, but mine is really just to, put signs in the ground when it's the ground is a little bit frozen. But I like to think I'm badass.
Just in case. Just in case you got a badass sledgehammer.
Me, all my dreams, my apocalypse dreams would come true. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Don't mess with me. I have a sledgehammer. I like it. Sorry. And what is the next question? I think that was rambled on. Sorry about that.
Good. The next one is, I noticed you have quite a following on Instagram. Do you have any tips you're willing to share to help other businesses grow their following?
Definitely. So whether it's Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. So when I was starting on LinkedIn, I tell this story all the time. You can go in and follow people. I'm at my max of bothering people, like I have 27,000 followers now on LinkedIn, and I literally was, follow. Like I'd go to the washroom literally and I'd be like, okay, I can follow 20 people today, or this in this 2 minutes, I follow 20 people. For Instagram, my tips is just to have no fear, and just keep on posting, be consistent, committed, creative. And when it comes to particularly Instagram, Instagram's kind of a game, like I don't take it that seriously. I take LinkedIn more seriously because it's
more professional platform.
Yeah, and they're all like local executives, etc. Instagram is kind of a mishmash of, all types of followers. And then when you're boosting ads and boosting hashtags, you get lots of different followers and reels. It's a pay to play medium for me too. Like I do a lot of, I will boost and pay, and then my following goes way up, and then it kind of falls down. There's so many strategies. I could actually have like probably a 3-month course on how to play with Instagram. And I'm still learning. I'm definitely not an expert whatsoever. But, when I started, and again, I think I deleted most of my posts, like when I was not a realtor and I was a stay-at-home mom and I was traveling all over the place, and I had like ridiculous posts, because I wasn't really in the professional game, but I still had about, 12,000 followers at that point. And then I just kept on pushing from there. With Facebook, I have a professional page where I have, I think, about 1,700 followers, but my personal one is, 5,000 people, because, I think you'll notice my Instagram is not, curated in any way. I have paid various professionals to help me and help boost my following, and I've paid, designers and Instagram social media experts to help me. But at the end of the day, I just felt like the things that get the most engagement on your Instagram is just being real and consistent.
For sure.
So that's my answer there. Like that, those are my tips.
I got to listen to that. I don't have a professional Instagram, but it's always cool, right?
And I actually have a creator account, not a business account, just because I love music and I love using music and I love the silly GIFs. And again, I don't take Instagram too seriously, but I surprisingly, a huge part of my business has been from Instagram. People that have just been following me for 3 or 4 years, and they reach out and, I'm listing their home next month type of thing.
It's actually the same with us, kind of. We have a lot of clients who have just like our social media, and they're like, well, no, I need a roof. I follow No Payne Roofing.
Exactly. And actually, that's how I think I first contacted you guys anyway. One of my clients, their roof was, not great, and they had a quote, and I thought, oh, I'll just get another quote. And it's from social media. I think it's pretty normal these days.
It's a very valuable tool.
It is.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, and not take yourself too seriously, like Instagram to me is just pure fun, and LinkedIn is a little more serious.
Yeah.
But I don't have as much time anymore as I used to really spend time on it. That's the challenge I'm facing right now.
It helps business, I think, as you said, keeping it fun. Just reminds me of, I think, earlier today or yesterday, there's this new filter that came out that makes you frown, look like you're crying, right? And Mike had actually,
I love the filters.
Or somebody on the roofing crew took a video of some of the crew members while they're working and stuff and sent it to Mike. And of course, Mike will put it on our social media because keep it fun, right? That's why. Because I think
you just have to be real. And
I think that's pretty real. Like we're goofing around and stuff with filters, and every time there's a cool one, we'll post stuff about it, and things like that is worthwhile, I think, for business. I think
a lot of luxury realtors just want to only or have a curated image. It's just not who I am. And the beautiful thing I think about getting older, is that you care less and less about trying to be someone else or trying to have this image. I don't know, it's worked for me just to be myself. So I'm going to just keep doing it. The filters, of course, I have this philosophy on Instagram. or anything. I do like it to look a little bit like a magazine sometimes, you know, and some people send me direct messages like, why do you use a filter? You know, you look so good just the way you are, and you should just not use filters. And I'm like, you know, I use filters because it's fun and it's more eye-catching.
Right.
I mean, I'm always thinking of method behind the madness.
Right.
And, you know, if I look like Tales from the Crypt in person, so be it. I don't really give a shit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like, you know, I don't really care. That's the beauty about, you know, maybe wisdom, getting older, and also just having like an attitude, like a savage attitude that, you know, I am what I am. My Instagram sometimes has filters. But one thing that is not filtered are the homes and how I present them. So I take my properties very serious. I work really hard to sell properties, but when it comes to myself, I just, you know, just have a good sense of humor, like take it easy, you know, you don't have to be like in front of your, you know, Mercedes all the time, having a professional photo, like, you know, that's just not my style. Although I might just throw that in there next week. Who knows?
Yeah, right on.
You know,
Well,
I'll
you've
do
done
whatever I want to do. And that's what I think people should do on their social media. Just be positive, though. I think when people get into, like, I'm not into that at all. I'm not into, you know, if someone writes something that's offensive, I'm not going to be piping up to let them know that that's ridiculous.
Little
I'll just
keyboard warrior.
keep on scrolling.
I'm the same way, actually, too. I mean,
Don't bother.
my 2 cents isn't going to change a thing. And I mean, you could just put a target on your own head for others, voicing your own opinion about things like that. So
It's not worth it.
I
It's definitely
understand that.
not worth it. Just live and let be. You know, man, like just wish everybody the best. That's definitely been my attitude.
ELE, everybody love
Yeah, I've
everybody.
gotten some like
Yes.
philosophical advice today. Like I think that's the word. No, maybe.
You're getting philosophical advice?
And that's probably not the word to use.
Oh, or inspiration?
Inspirational. I don't know. I kind of
Philosophical
big
in
word
a
in
way, I
there.
think, yeah.
was
Ooh.
gonna say, yeah.
What's the
learning.
third question?
What questions would you like to ask No Payne Roofing? Because you did mention you had some
Oh.
questions. I think I'm curious too, actually, what questions you have.
Yeah, so if I was to redo my house, say if you had, okay, so tell me the difference, like a concrete roof, for example. Do you do concrete roofs?
We do not install clay tile, but we
Clay
hope to
tile.
expand and install clay tile products. They have variations on tile and what it's manufactured with. Clay tile is fairly common.
Well, there was
Concrete
Unicrete,
also.
but that got shut
Oh,
down.
yeah,
Unicrete, that
Unicrete.
is
They
like
went under, though.
yeah, concrete or clay. It's similar, I suppose.
Is there a
in-
difference between concrete and clay?
I think in its
Can you buy
in
clay
its-
a concrete one still?
you probably they're difficult for us to
I
find.
couldn't find
Sometimes
any
we
for
we
clay.
get calls from clients to patch in broken tiles and whatnot. Sometimes they're difficult to find, but the difference I think primarily would be in the difference between clay and concrete, obviously. But I think in terms of longevity and hail resistance, I think they're likely very similar. They have additives as well in order to safeguard against cracking, and I mean, and also in order to increase impact resistance and things like that. But for a long-term roof, clay is a great product, obviously, because it's not going to deteriorate from sun exposure or the incredible fluctuations we get in temperature. Hail is a big issue in Calgary, and
Definitely.
they're very, very robust when up against hail as well. So clay tile is a great choice, but at the moment, No Payne does not offer clay tile installation or concrete tile installation, but we do hope to expand into those areas very soon. We do offer other products that are extremely hail resistant. EuroShield is one manufacturer. They're essentially rubber shingles.
Oh, yeah.
A very thick rubber that would last a lifetime, of course. I can't think of anything that would go right through
What
it.
percentage is a rubber roof compared to asphalt shingles, for example?
Asphalt shingles they do have rubberized components to them. It's very minimal. Some makes and models have a more advanced hail resistant rating.
Okay.
I would assume, or I believe that it is tied into how much rubber product is kind of used in the manufacturing itself. But compared to, say, the EuroShield product, it's like recycled car tires that are melted down and reshaped. So extreme, or like way, way more hail resistant. Like there are a lot of videos you can find online of people throwing baseballs at them 100 miles an hour.
Yes.
They'll just bounce right off it. Like it's pure rubber. So, I mean, completely hail resistant. And we do sell and we do install those products as well.
So what percentage, I'm curious, like with all the hail in Calgary,
Right.
it just seems like the largest percentage of roofs are made with asphalt shingles.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Is it just because it's the most cost effective, I guess, and then they just take a chance?
It is more affordable, I think, for the average consumer, no doubt. I mean, just to give you a few numbers on, I say like the average 1,500 square feet home or square foot home, with an introductory, or in other words, in like an entry level asphalt product, you could look at anywhere between like 9 and 13,000 for like an asphalt re-roof, whereas the EuroShield product that I've been talking about can go from like anywhere from 18 to like 35,000 depending on square footage, but then there are different odds and ends that you can throw in and everything else, and then clay tile even more expensive than that. So asphalt shingle is the more affordable.
And where does cedar shakes fit into that mix, and why, obviously aesthetically they look beautiful, but aren't they higher maintenance, but are they, tell me about them compared to
So cedar shakes, I believe there are other types of wood used. We don't install cedar shake roofs. We rip them off all the time.
Do you?
And
how do you find them? Mm-hmm.
Well, they are obviously they are also very hail resistant.
Yeah.
They do have a difference in thickness. You can get thinner shakes or thicker. I think 3/4 inch or maybe 1/2 inch, I think, is maybe the thickest you can get. But you could imagine a plank or piece of wood, I mean, fairly hail resistant.
Totally.
Very, very seldom do I find hail damage on cedar shake roofs.
But would they crack and have water?
They could. They could easily crack. I mean, because they do have, if it hits the right angle, it could crack along the grain, right, which could split.
Right.
But they are lapped on top of one another in a way, sometimes up to 3 different layers of shakes.
Okay.
So rather safeguarded, I think, quite a bit. But they also have quite the lifespan as well.
Right.
They are obviously more prone to rot because when we are up there for a cedar shake re-roof or a tear-off, in other words, it's very, very common to find patches of plywood that are visible. And you can see the underlayments in some areas. You can find a lot of moss in other areas.
Right,
so it would obviously,
moss or mold or?
Yeah, moss and rot is a primary. So it is very common to find that. But the roof had likely been up there for close to 60 years sometimes. Like they last quite a long time.
Oh, interesting.
We have yet to expand into cedar shake installation.
Would you say, the number one reason for roof failure is the way that they're installed, or is it the product themselves, or what's your experience?
I think the most, I think workmanship error is likely the leading cause for roof failure. Just based on what I've seen myself, it's pretty easy to tell whether or not the roof was installed with quality in mind, or versus a roof that was installed as hastily as possible.
I see, like quickly put together.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're talking about the underneath the shingles part, the roof structure itself.
Well, all aspects of a re-roof can have the same, maybe not the same, but they all together, they work together in order to obviously safeguard against any sort of damage.
Water being the number one enemy, hail and water.
Precisely. Yes. So, I mean, you can tell when they've decided to use specific underlayments in some areas but not others, and then some sides you'll see no underlayment. And this is all in the same roof, right? You'll find underlayments here and like a difference between workmanship between the entire crew.
Right.
Cut corners here but not there.
Right.
And so an accumulation of workmanship errors can certainly, I think, have the biggest impact on the roof being safeguarded against the elements.
And I suppose that's really quite not common, but it could be common. So you have to be careful who you work with, because, most individuals, including realtors, I mean, we can just only see what we can see. The inspectors are some, I guess, are better trained than others, just like every vocation, I guess. But you can only really tell if a roof is, going to
of course,
fail safe by having an expert look at it from the attic or
Well, of
underneath.
course. I mean, part of our standard procedure is doing an attic inspection during a consultation for a re-roof. I mean, that's not only in order to identify workmanship errors, but also just to just get a sense of problems that should be addressed throughout the re-roof process.
Right. So, for example,
Yeah.
if one of my buyers, it's an older roof, they see the shingles are just a total mess. The inspector says, that it's an old roof, or even, we are seeing a lot of unconditional sales in this market, right? They make it unconditional, but the seller discloses that the roof needs to be replaced. Everybody knows it's all good. But there's so many different levels of what it's going to cost to remediate a roof, depending on really what you find underneath.
Precisely. Yeah, because
So no one really knows until they get in there.
if the shingles are in extremely poor condition, now you're going to wonder whether or not they had used underlayments under the shingles. There's asphalt-based underlayments, or like tar paper, in other words. There are synthetic underlayments, right? So there's a different level of protection for the decking or plywood, depending on what type of underlayments that they're using. If the roof is in completely horrible condition and they have a lack of underlayments, what we would see first and foremost from inside the attic is a delaminated decking. So essentially the moisture can seep into the plywood itself and cause the glue layers in the plywood to essentially break apart or break down. Can cause an expansion in the wood in different areas, so you get a lot of buckling in the plywood. You can tell when you're walking up there if there's a lot of sag or a lot of just sag, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, I mean, if you can identify the roof is in poor condition from the exterior, it's extremely important to conduct an attic inspection for the reasons that we've mentioned. I mean, there are other problems that can arise because of the condition of the roof. And usually when Carly, she's doing the consultations and roof sales primarily right now, and she'll go in for the consultation and she'll say, "Can I go in your attic?" I'm like, "Really? What? Why?" They've had 4 consultations. I mean, in other words, they maybe had one other consultation, because it's also not very commonplace for the roofing salesperson to come to the home and do an in-person inspection. Usually it's over the phone estimates, right? So when Carly's like, "We're going to come to your house for one, to give you an idea of what products we offer and explain warranties to you," simultaneously doing an attic inspection definitely really puts us ahead of the curve, or in front of, or ahead of the competition, right? When Carly's kind of surprising them with an attic inspection and having the samples of the products and warranties and things like that.
Right.
So,
well, that's giving an accurate price, because, there's nothing more annoying than having someone over the phone tell you it's going to be, $15,000 or $16,000, but when they get there and they start doing the work, "Oh, I'm sorry, but also the underlay, and also this, and also the chimney, and also this."
yeah, that's
and
right.
the chimney is another thing, right? Chimney and vents that go through the roof. I mean, asking all the specific questions, and that's what makes you a good, that's what I think takes you from good to great. Is, there's good and there's mediocre, and that's like every industry, is just paying attention to those details and asking the right questions before you. It's the same when we do evaluation. Someone says, "What is my house worth?" and they really want it quick. Everyone today wants it quick, so we would just give them a quick analysis online with a market report. But we always do say in our emails or texts, we really do want to come and see your home in person, and we can give you a general idea over the phone, just as you guys can do.
Of course.
You can do Google Maps, look at the size of the
you can
roof.
get the square footage, and you can kind of estimate
Totally.
costs and things. But
and we have like the history of every property, so we can definitely sort of do a pretty accurate CMA. But you're right, just actually taking the time to drive over and look at someo's house is all the difference.
I think the real goal in doing that is to eliminate surprise cost for the client. It's just eliminating, room for increasing prices and things of that nature.
Yes.
So,
no, I think that's
seeing
great.
up inside the attic and seeing the house in person and identifying issues before agreeing on a price. I mean, that's as anybody could believe. If all of a sudden, hey, by the way, the entire roof's rotten now that we've pulled the shingles off, we're going to have to increase the estimate by $4,000. Like,
and suddenly you're
what?
the enemy, you know, and that's
Yeah.
exactly in our business. If we say, you know, we think your house is worth 350, you know, based on all of these numbers and by seeing the pictures from the past, but when we get there, if we see that, you know, well, you know, the floor is in very bad condition, it's been scratched by your 4 dogs and whatever
Yeah.
it is, your deck is falling apart. I didn't see that. I couldn't possibly tell that by the past pictures. You know, there's so many things that you just can't tell. And in today's day and age of technology, it's great that everything's so quick.
Yeah.
But that personal touch of going there and actually understanding what's going on, I think people, the right people, again, you know, you attract your vibe, your tribe, you know, by your vibe.
Right.
And, you know, if they know that you're careful, sure, you might be a higher quote, but, you know, they're getting the job done right, because the guy who quoted maybe $7,000, it's really 14 grand, you know, that's what, once the job starts, you're already into it. It's too late, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So no, that's good to know.
Eliminate
think-
hidden cost is
Yeah.
the real name of the
yes,
game. And
totally.
providing or just transparency essentially is
yeah.
extremely important.
And accurate quotes, you know, it's important. Like, we are in business, and, you know, people hate the bait and switch. You know, they
Yeah.
hate that. They hate that. They
Oh, yeah.
just resent you or don't trust you right away. So it's building trust. So yeah, I think we've covered a lot. It's
Yeah,
been a full hour
it's
already.
been a full hour, but there's a couple things that we have yet to cover.
Oh no.
Because I'm thinking now of the description of the podcast itself.
Oh.
The importance of investing in your own home before sale.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember, from what I've gathered, that was something that you'd be interested in talking about just a little bit. The importance of investing into your own property before, you know, prepping it for sale, things like that. So if you want to touch on that a little bit,
I'll do
just
that.
to try to adhere to the, I guess, topic proposed in the description for the podcast, but it's easy for things to get carried away. First and foremost, those were very excellent questions, and I hope that I was able to answer them sufficiently.
Definitely.
Yes.
And just to, I guess, to wrap this up, when it comes to marketing your home, and you know, again, when you're in a seller's market, a lot of folks are a little less concerned. You know, maybe they declutter less, or maybe they don't, you know, they think any realtor would do just a fine job because the market is so strong. Excuse me. I guess I can't stress enough the importance of competition on the market. I mean, even if it is a seller's market, I think everyone would agree they still want the most money possible for their home. And so not to cut corners, same as kind of what you were just talking about.
Yes,
you know,
right.
Having beautiful photography and working with a realtor before you go to market, even if you're in a hurry. You know, it's important to, you know, I've seen some pictures online, you know, just curb appeal, garbage outside, beds not made, laundry all over the house. And, you know, they just want the house on the market. And because it's a seller's market, you know, I think that, you know, they're maybe given advice that that's good enough. It's fine. The market's strong. Just go ahead. But I beg to defer, you know, to say, I think that your home would probably get a little bit more if you had just put a little bit more into it. And that can go, you know, just from decluttering to actually fixing your roof before you list it.
Of course, that could be a big component, I think.
Roof is a huge, right? Everyone always asks about the roof, the water tank, the furnace, you know, the major mechanical components of a home, and the things that keep your home safe, which is a roof and good windows and good doors and good, you know, the good bones. So, you know, when the market is slowly shifting as it is to being a little softer, it becomes more and more important. Don't cheap out on things like the roof. Make sure you get a furnace inspection. Make sure your water tank is not going to blow up during the, you know, and remember, when someone makes an offer and it's waived and it's officially sold, they're still only moving in maybe in 30 days or 60 days. You're still responsible for that property being in good order until they take possession. And so when they come and walk through the day before they take possession, you want to make sure that, you know, you're still responsible. If there's a hailstorm, and that roof that was just on its last legs has just finally gone, it's your responsibility. It's not the new owner's responsibility.
So would that be even, say, a day before the new owners take possession, say the water, like say you had the home inspected or all of these mechanical components inspected and they all were given clearance, then 3 days, 2 days before the other or the new owner takes possession, you're responsible to mend any issues that become
100%.
apparent right before the selling date? Oh, I see.
There is a pre-possession walkthrough.
Right.
If you're a good realtor, you always book one 24 hours before those funds transfer.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Right.
And you just have a walk around. And if something, that walkthrough's purpose is to ensure there isn't a sudden flood. There isn't, there hasn't been a fire. What if you walk in and that's why you have real estate lawyers. So every transaction, you have a lawyer on standby. They are in charge of those funds transferring.
Right.
They're in charge of the contract that you have in place, that everything's adhered to. Believe it or not, we just had a closing and, the person hadn't taken all the exterior things out of the yard, for example. It's a serious day, so you still technically own that home.
Right.
Until the day that the keys are in someone else's hands because the money's there.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of ways to mitigate those risks. So you should really have a good realtor who understands how to mitigate those risks.
Of course.
But, you have to take care of your home in the whole process of getting it ready for sale. And then sure, it's sold, but oftentimes they often book 2-3 additional visits because they want to come measure. They might want to renovate the kitchen cabinets maybe. So if that buyer saw your home in pristine order and they paid top dollar for it because it looks so good, and then they're coming to visit in 2 weeks and you don't do a thing and you let it go totally to hell and they walk into a mess, I'm not saying that they don't have to follow through on their contract. They do. But it adds instability to the deal. They could become more demanding. They could be worried. They could have second thoughts, buyer's remorse. There's all kinds of things that can happen. So just, real estate, as you can hear, there's so many different facets.
Certainly more involved than I had first anticipated, or not. That's not the right word.
Well, no, people just think, oh, it's so fun. It's going to be great. I'm going to buy a house. It's so amazing. Well, it is, but there's so many. You've got to protect yourself. It's the biggest investment you're going to make.
Big money.
Big money.
Big money. No doubt about it.
It's what we are all here for. It's to have a home. It's to that's what we live and breathe by. So it's huge. And hence why in the beginning I said, you should almost have an MBA and a psychology degree and all of these things because it's a lot more complicated than people, I think, realtors are, have, I think, some people are like, oh, don't let realtor call me, I don't want to hear from the realtors, they have this perception that we make all this easy money. And it's not true. It's a lot of work and dedication.
There's a lot to manage. Yeah, there's a lot to manage.
And you have to be very responsible. This is a huge investment. So take care of your home, and before you list, if your roof needs a little tidying up, call No Payne Roofing. Right?
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. Terrific recommendation. Well, we've actually got one more segment that we have to run through.
Goodness, guys, I'm old,
it won't take...
I don't have the same energy as you guys.
No, it's okay. It'll be quick. It'll be quick. 2 more minutes.
What's happening?
Well, no. It's easy. It's straightforward. We just want to get to know you a little bit more because outside of business, we usually start to ask about personal interests, hobbies, things like that. You like to walk track. We know that much. Maybe you're a secret volleyball player. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe you're a mean cook. Who knows? So we just want to get to know you on a more personal level. In closing.
Okay. So I really have no personal life.
That's not a bad thing. You're a workaholic?
I'm a workaholic. Okay. It's true. Yes. I love to cook. I'm a really good cook. I think everyone would say that. I love to go on vacation. That's how I treat myself. That's one thing I splurge. I splurge on that. I definitely don't cheap out. I feel like moments with my family, one-on-one. That's really why I'm doing all of this.
Right.
But no, I get a real, I get a real high from being able to provide for my family, and that's
Fantastic.
what I love, and that's what keeps me going every day. And I do have to get more. You're right. I have to get a life. I can see all the.
I didn't say that.
I can see it in your faces. Ruth, get a life. Walking the track. How exciting! That's about as fun as I get.
I was trying to be funny when I said you walk track. We know that at least. Like,
while
that's all you've given us so far.
talking to my clients and listening to self-help books. That's as much fun as I am. Yeah. That's about it. Sorry, boring.
No, that's okay.
You made this podcast very fun. You're definitely not boring.
No, you're certainly not boring.
I've got a sense of humor, or else I would be. The white van would be coming to take me away.
Right.
Sure.
Well, we know you can sell a mean house.
Thank you.
Right.
And I can cook a great
What's
meal.
your favorite dish to cook?
Well, my kids love my homemade spaghetti sauce, so
nice.
I'm pretty famous for my spaghetti sauce. But I learned how to cook by reading Julia Child cookbooks. So definitely lots of butter and cream and, savory food. I'm not a baker, but definitely love any, gourmet type cuisine. I love cooking. But a favorite dish? No, again, I don't cook as much as I used to.
Okay, what's your favorite dish to eat?
Oh,
yeah, your favorite to eat. You must have a favorite.
Oh my God.
For me, I like a mean French onion soup.
Oh yeah, French onion soup is good.
Yeah, totally.
I love eggplant parmesan.
Ooh.
It's a very hard dish to cook just right. I love it. I'm a meat eater for sure, obviously. I don't know if that's obvious.
Yeah, I gotta say, I can't say that I exactly picked that
Ruth,
up along the podcast.
She looks carnivorous. It goes with that apocalypse theme.
Yes. Well, you never know.
I would have no trouble at all, going out there, and I don't know. I don't hunt though. Like, I'm not big into guns. Just the sledgehammer is fine. That's fine. I just want it to be very, very carnal.
Right.
Right. Favorite thing to eat? I don't know. Like, there's so many. I love all food. The only thing I do not like the taste of is liver. That is just about it. I will absolutely eat anything and everything. I love food.
It's a great quality. That's a great quality.
I was saying I love vegetarian dishes. I love Indian food, probably one of my favorites. Oh my gosh. Butter chicken, naan.
Go for Indian tonight now.
Yeah. Beef vindaloo, chickpea masala or whatever. I love vegetarian food as well. So
have you ever had hot pot before?
No, tell me what that is. Maybe I have.
You essentially would sit down and they would put, you'd choose broth.
Yes.
Whatever. I usually go like the spiciest that they have.
Yes.
And then they would serve you raw meats or whatever you order, and you cook it in the broth and consume it.
Well,
it's
just have to
fantastic.
tell you, one thing I'm not a fan of is cooking my own dinner at a table, hot pot, and peel your own shrimp. Forget it.
I had to do
you
that
take
last
that away.
night.
I'm not peeling my own shrimp. Doesn't matter if I'm, homeless or where I am. I am not peeling my own shrimp.
Just gross to you, or like?
No,
is it
I just don't like to do that. I just want to enjoy my meal.
I feel you. All right, on. Yeah. Don't want to work for it. That's fine.
The kids love it when I do a fondue, but I'm like, oh my God, I have to sit here and wait for that. I'm not a very patient person, so maybe that's why.
Well, you've been extremely patient throughout this podcast.
Yeah,
and I love chicken wings.
What's that?
Said, yeah, Brody's got quite the random questions.
Well, like I said, we didn't get into the personal questions, which it's insightful for our guest, right? Because I mean, she's a great real estate agent, great, but she loves eggplant parmesan, and she could whip up a sweet meal. Like the more you know,
I love food.
The more you know about the people that you're going to allow to facilitate
in your circle.
Well, facilitate a home buying process.
Trust.
It's important, right? Like.
I love hot chicken wings too. I have to say, I just can't get enough of that with blue cheese.
Like
steak with blue cheese.
Like
blue
hot,
cheese
like
on
spicy,
everything.
or hot, like
hot
temperature.
Spicy.
Yeah,
hot
me too.
Spicy.
I'm a
hot
spice fiend.
Not like temperature.
What would you?
I don't know, hot wings. I don't know.
I like
don't know
cold
why.
wings. I like
I don't know
in
why
the fridge
I
for a
asked you
couple
that.
days actually.
Hot? Oh, you mean like the temperature?
No, spicy. Yeah,
me
anything
too.
spicy I love. Vegetarian spicy chicken, and of course a Big Mac. Who doesn't like?
Yeah. Yes.
Come on.
Amen for the
My
Big
stomach is
Mac.
gurgling over here. I'm so hungry
I know,
right now
right?
talking with you
Yeah, it's
guys.
almost dinner time. Almost
Yes.
dinner time.
Yeah, Okay, well,
Well, Ruth,
you
it has
know,
been
I'm very boring on the personal
it's been
side.
a pleasure. No, it's fine. We know more about you now than we did before. And know more behind the scenes, Ruth. And
Well, thanks.
anybody who's watching and anybody interested in hiring you for your services would be maybe a little bit more comfortable now that they
Maybe.
know you a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
Right? Your
Yeah.
family.
I'm not as hoity-toity as I seemed when I first got here, maybe.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I didn't know what to
get that
expect.
vibe.
I didn't know what to
get that
expect.
vibe.
You look like a very well groomed and
Yes.
put together businesswoman.
Oh,
I was
thank
intimidated
you.
slightly, but
Oh.
it's not a bad thing.
Brody's-
It's not a
I
bad
could
thing at
feel
all.
that,
Intimidated
you
by
know.
women in power. There you
In
go.
the- oh,
Now that makes I don't know how to interpret that exactly.
Trying to make you
I
look
like
bad.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
trying to make me look bad. I'm not
Yeah,
intimidated.
yeah.
I am. It's commendable. Is what I should say. Very commendable.
Oh, thank
So,
you. I'm very down to
um,
earth, and I hope that, mentioning in the Wayne's World, I knew exactly what vibe you're going for. Here.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah. No,
So-
Wayne's World is great.
That is such a good movie. I think I might put that on tonight.
They're looking
with
at
some
a
chicken
third.
wings.
Some hot wings.
Some hot wings. I'll
Hot
make sure they're
temperature and
hot.
hot.
Good idea.
They're going to be warm out of the air fryer.
Mike Myers is looking at doing a third. They are considering it.
Really?
Like they rebooted Wayne and Garth for the Super Bowl commercial.
Oh,
did you see
right,
that?
I
Yeah,
did.
that was recent, which was weird because
I
Wayne
loved
Wayne
Garth.
looked like he was like classic. He looked like totally weird and all that. Like, but they are intending. They do intend to make another. So let's
Yeah,
hope for
that
that.
was a good laugh. That was a really good movie. And
Yeah, that's one of the best movies of all
mhm.
time for sure.
yeah.
That's wicked.
I love what you guys are doing here. You don't need a fancier room or anything. It just sets you apart. And I think, again, back to any questions about social media or just whatever, just being yourself is money. And if you get a nice, big, fancier studio, you probably miss these days. So,
Yeah, you're right. But
enjoy them.
it would still be full of band posters and
What do you
photos
play-
I printed from
What do you play in your
from
band?
online.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm actually in between bands right now. I'm starting a project of my own, but heavy metal all the way.
But what instrument do you
Oh,
play?
sorry, guitar. Yeah, I'm a guitar player. I sing.
Guitar.
I can
You're
play
gonna
bass
sing,
guitar. I
yeah.
can drum. I can play keyboards.
Electric guitar,
yes,
acoustic?
Yes, I'm multi
My
instrumental.
partner plays the bass. So
Fantastic.
yeah,
great.
Yeah, so we have guitars in the house, and my stepdaughter Hannah plays the acoustic. She's practicing a
That's
lot.
great.
I have a piano. I admire musicians. I have no musical skill whatsoever, but I did sing in the choir growing up, so I love to sing. But I have no musical talent.
Well,
Yeah.
there's
you. So I
it's never too
admire it.
late to start. I mean, the recorder
You
is a
guys
good
need a
place
singer?
to start, right?
You know,
There you
just
go.
call me. I'll just do some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll consider that for sure
Not
because
really
I do
heavy
want to
metal.
put together. I do want to put together like a cover band as well too.
Oh.
One like my dad growing up played in a cover band, multiple cover bands. They pulled in a lot of cash because like when they can play like 4 hours straight of songs that everybody knows,
Oh yeah.
there's
People
money in
love
that for sure compared to like some whatever heavy metal band, right? No hate for heavy metal band, but point is that would be a nice side project to do. And there are a lot of famous female singers that rock and
Yeah.
put out songs that people are familiar with. So yeah,
I remember
female singer
when
is
I
a
first started, I was selling print when I first moved to Calgary, and I had a party, and because, I wanted to treat all my clients at once, I thought I'd have a house party where they could all come instead of going out for lunches every day with different
Yeah.
clients, like in the sales realm that just didn't interest me.
buy a keg
Hour-
and have everyone
so
over,
just have
you know?
one event, and my hairdressers at the time, a guy who was washing my hair, he had a heavy metal band, he
Sweet.
told me. So I thought, will you play at my party? Right? Because it's so different. It's so unique.
That's awesome.
And they actually
Yeah.
were in my backyard. I think they burned, I don't know, they were playing AC/DC covers. They lit something on fire. I mean, it was the best party ever.
Wish I was there for that.
Everybody loved it.
That's
they played
awesome.
it was great. Again,
That's
it's just
fantastic.
unexpected.
Yeah, well, that was a
So
good
fun.
idea of you to throw a party like that, like
Yeah.
karaoke parties, music,
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like that
those are
is
good
great to
too.
do. Good get-togethers. No doubt
Well,
about
guys,
that.
it's 5:00 somewhere, so let's wrap this up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, again, Ruth, you were a fantastic guest. I'm happy Carly had asked me to facilitate this podcast.
Thanks, Carly. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
as well.
you were involved as
Nice
well,
to
Carly,
meet
and that
you.
was fantastic. Daniel as well, always lurking in the back, taking all the sweet social media photos and all that good stuff.
I can't see on it.
Come on,
I
stick your
know.
hand out there, Daniel.
Hi,
Say wave to the crowd.
Please share with me.
Oh,
those
closer,
photos.
closer.
There you
There you
go.
go.
Hopefully you got
Boom, there
my
he is.
Good side.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, okay, so in closing, Ruth Alexander Holmes, very, very Highly recommended.
Just never getting my
Rare
name.
group.
Thank
Did
you.
I say Homes?
Rare
Yeah,
Group.
I said rare
It's
earlier,
just
didn't I?
Group.
That's my Instagram handle, but that's okay.
That's
I'm not really
fantastic.
paying attention.
Well, you type in Ruth Alexander in Google, and it will, all roads will lead directly to you.
Oh,
So
thanks. I haven't even really used Google. I guess I have to start. I'm so far behind. No.
it's not
well,
too late. It's not too late.
it's
We're
never
gonna
too
share
late.
this. We're gonna share all of this material.
One step at a time. Remember what I said earlier?
Yes.
One thing.
One thing.
Just do one thing at a time.
Good idea. Good
Okay.
idea. So as I said, Daniel's going to be uploading a whole bunch of stuff for us. Your face will be on it. All of your stuff as well. Everything will be shared, and we will cross promote, of course. So let's hope that your
Of
phone is
course.
ringing off the hook here
Oh.
very soon.
I hope it doesn't.
I know you want it. Yeah, workaholic. I know you want it.
I do. You're right.
Right. Okay.
You
Well
know
then.
me already.
As for our viewers, thank you for hanging in there. I think it's been about an hour and 15. Or was it? Hour 20. Wow. Like, dude, it was 4:20 a minute
my
ago.
God, I
Wow.
have to go.
That's okay. You also toughed it out with us.
4:20.
Hey, we don't condone drug use on this podcast now, everybody, okay?
I see the
Goodness me.
What are they growing down here?
Okay. Anyways, thank you for hanging in there. We didn't get a mystery word winner because if someone commented the mystery word, they would have been announced.
After the podcast,
But
though, so
yeah,
they'll-
keep
Okay.
your ears open for the mystery
Okay.
word, and you can still win if you can comment on the original video. We've got a lot of cool prizes if you've seen any of the videos that we've done with the prize reveal, and $500 cash up for grabs. So yes, thank you, Ruth, for being here. It was a real pleasure. And
Say that again. I'm going to put it on my Instagram.
say that all again. Okay, well, yeah, well, I'm going to do it. Thank you, Ruth, for being a guest of the No Payne podcast. It's officially the 30th episode. It was super cool. We were doing the mystery word challenge. Nobody got the mystery word, so be sure to re-listen to the podcast. Guess all that you can for your chance to win $500 cash. If not $500, you will get a cool gift, right? So thank you again, Ruth. Thank you, viewers. Always a pleasure. And hey, tune in next week, Thursday, 3 p.m., and potentially this coming Monday with the $500 draw. We don't know yet, but hopefully somebody wins. So happy Thursday. Enjoy the sunshine, and we will see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Chicken wings and
Adios.
beer.
Chicken wings and beer.
Woo!
Chicken wings and
We should all do
beer.
chicken wings and beer.
Chicken wings and beer.
I'm
Shotgun
in.
chicken.